Vayse. Welcome to Vayse. Oh, sorry.
I've never seen that move before.
No. You stepped on it. It was going to be
Yeah.
But no. Okay, hold
Go
on.
on, start again. Rewind.
Welcome to Vayse, a podcast about weird stuff. I'm Pete C. Hine, and joining me as always is my old friend and co-host, here for the second part of the weird...
This new move isn't working out very well for you, is it?
I tried it. I tried something. It didn't work.
The people listening won't know this, but his new move involves leaning back and then sort of pushing himself forward into the mic,
Propelling myself.
Yeah, so it's like he's kind of leant backwards, all the way backwards, and then boom, welcome to Vayse.
Forward momentum.
Yeah.
I'm Pete C. Hine, and joining me as always is my old friend and co-host. Joining me for the second part of the Weird Review of the Year. He lives his life year by year, month by month, week by week, day by day, hour by hour, minute by minute, second by second, millisecond by millisecond, because that's how time works. It's Mr. Stephen James Buckley.
That's what they want you to think.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You're part of the time propaganda now.
Yeah, I'm
working
a
for
linear
big time.
Propagandist.
Yeah. They call you Peter C. Time.
Yeah.
You're working for big time. You're shoving it down our throats.
Yeah, that's it.
And we all know
TikTok,
it's fake.
TikTok, baby.
Yeah, we all know it's fake.
Yeah, so...
Talking of time,
we left off in June of 2025. So now it's July 2025.
July 2025.
And that was quite a month for weird stuff, as it turned out. I picked the first one, especially for you, because it's to do with fungus. So apparently, a toxic fungus from King Tutankhamun's tomb yields a cancer-fighting compound, according to a new study. So on 1st of July 2025, The Conversation, which is like a website which often covers quite weird stuff, reported that a toxic fungus known as Aspergillus flavus. Do you know that one? Are you familiar?
not with that Latin name, no.
No, which scientists suggest might be the actual culprit behind the curse of Tutankhamun, may actually also possess properties which could be used as a powerful new weapon in the fight against cancer. So it's a common mold that's found in soil, decaying vegetation, stored grains, and it's infamous for its ability to survive in harsh environments, including the sealed chambers of ancient tombs where it can lie dormant for thousands of years. And when disturbed, it releases spores that cause severe respiratory infections, particularly in people with weakened immune systems. And they think that that could be behind the curse of Tutankhamun and similar.
Yeah, so imagine like people that if they've been, grave robbing in Egypt for weeks on end, they probably don't have the good supply of like fruit and the tired and stuff, so their immune systems will be weakened. So when they open up the tomb to steal another culture's artifacts, then they get ill. So that explains it. Yeah, I'd not heard of it because I'm not really up on my molds, to be honest.
No. I don't know the mold fungus divide. Is there one, or is it just names? Or
I don't know what the difference is.
No, maybe Egon Spengler would be able to tell us, wouldn't he?
Yeah, difference between mold and fungi. Let's have a look. Yeah, so fungus is the broad kingdom, whereas mold is a specific type of fungus.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I imagine that they were doing like, they were dehydrated. They were probably like had malaria and scurvy and all that sort of thing. And so they were probably really susceptible to getting those spores in them. And they can cause all sorts, can't they? Like those sort of spores, or like hallucinations, as well as illnesses and respiratory problems. But the researchers at the University of Pennsylvania have discovered that fungus produces a unique class of molecules which have the potential to fight cancer. So with one hand it giveth, with the other it taketh away, or the other way around.
Yeah. But that's good. That's a good. I like that story. That's a good,
I thought you would. I thought I'd start with one you liked. And,
it's got a few sort of
fungus.
Yeah, sort of got the weird archaeology kind of thing. Like a
Egypt
bit
again.
Jonesy.
I put that one in because you'd said you liked that, and you said that you were going to think about. What was it you were going to think about? There was one particular.
I can't remember.
You didn't think about it. You were going to contemplate it, weren't you?
It's only been 4 days since we recorded.
I know.
The last episode.
4 long days.
It feels like weeks.
It was to do with Egypt, wasn't it? With the pyramids, was it? Are you going to contemplate the pyramids, or I don't know?
I don't know.
I don't know. Like, but you didn't do it.
Can you contemplate the pyramids? Can you recommend the moon?
Yeah, I think if you try hard enough, you can do anything. You can accomplish anything. Put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything.
Yeah. Maybe it wasn't my will. To contemplate the pyramids.
To be honest, I didn't think it was when we were talking about it.
No, you thought I was writing checks that my mind
you were blowing smoke.
Yeah. I might think about it later. What will happen is when I edit the episode in a couple of days, I'll hear the promise that I made. At that point, I'll be able to confirm. We might have to do a
you'll
third
learn to keep
episode.
your promises at that point.
Yeah. We might have to do a third episode where I just apologise.
Use your apology, like a press release.
Just a press release, just
about your behaviour, like Kanye.
Like Kanye just did. Yeah, I'll get a lawyer to write it so that it sounds sane.
Yeah.
And then that will be the next episode after this one, or maybe we could just do a regular episode and forget about this sorry story. Yeah,
this sorry year. But by the 4th of July, 2025, we met a favourite that will recur over and over nearly every month for the rest of the year, and that was 3I Atlas, the mysterious cosmic interloper discovered in our own solar system. So, first of all, they just kind of discovered it, like coming through our solar system, and that was the first kind of articles that started coming, just kind of described it. So it's about 12 miles across, traveling toward the sun at around 152,000 miles per hour. And it was set on a very flat and straight trajectory, unlike other known objects in our solar system. And while that seemed like its arrival might just be random chance, Professor Avi Loeb, or whatever his name was, that guy that we talked about last time, who has long argued that interstellar objects such as this could be under intelligent control. He was saying that its presence in our solar system was anything but random. And he released a new paper in which he calculated how many objects of that size there are in the Milky Way, and claims that 3I Atlas is in fact significantly rarer than is generally believed. So there's that. He said, it's not like these objects are floating around in all directions. This object was aiming to get to the inner solar system. Why was it sent in the direction of the inner solar system? And he likened it to the situation in Rendezvous with Rama, that Arthur C. Clarke story. That one with this world that's inside the cylinder. It's a good book.
I can't remember if I've read that one or not.
It's a good one.
The name rings a bell, but
yeah.
What do you think?
But he did say that he hadn't ruled out the possibility of it just being a comet.
A random rock, yeah. What do you think?
I think it was a random rock. Just a comet. Maybe a comet's made of ice, dirty ice. I don't know. It's that kind of thing, I would say. Yeah.
Debris.
Yeah. I don't think it was, but he was all over that last one that came in, that kind of flattish one. The thing is that, he feels a bit like opportunistic to me. He's just sitting and waiting for things to come to our solar system and then calling them UFOs.
I remember reading about it when it first came out and stuff, and just being unconvinced from the get-go. And then as time's passed, I've got even more unconvinced. And, well, not more unconvinced, but just less interested.
Yeah. Okay, let's forget comments then, and I'll take you back to microorganisms.
Cool. Yeah, I'd much prefer that.
Yeah.
If that's okay.
So, 4th of July, 2025, it was reported that a research vessel called the Blue Heron started having mechanical difficulties whilst observing harmful algae in Lake Erie last summer. And it led the ship to dock in Cleveland. And when it did, it was removed from the water to be examined for issues. And that's when Captain Raoul Lee noticed the unknown substance oozing from the ship's rudder, which is something he would not have seen had he not taken the ship for dry maintenance. So he asked scientists at the University of Minnesota Duluth to investigate after he found the substance left no sheen in water, nor did it burn when set aflame, so it wasn't oil, basically. When the staff ran tests on the substance, they found about 20 DNA sequences or genomes and ran them through a worldwide computer database. And most of the sequences matched known genomes found elsewhere in the world, but a few were less identifiable, including one that was completely novel. And that's according to Cleveland.com. The substance, which is thought to be a single-celled organism, is now being temporarily called Shipgoo-1.
Have you seen any of Shipgoo-1's films?
No.
Brilliant. Very, very inventive.
The biggest surprise was that the Shipgoo had life in it at all, lead researcher Cody Sheck, a biologist of UMD and LLO, explained. We thought we'd find nothing, but surprisingly we found DNA, and it wasn't too destroyed, nor was the biomass too low. And it was a black goo, mysterious black goo, like in the X-Files.
I was going to say, this is very X-Files-y, isn't it? Just this whole, just the setup of, a ship.
Yeah.
I can see that in an X-Files style.
Like the teaser at the beginning would be the ship running into troubles, and they'd haul it out, and then the goo would come spilling down onto the guy.
Yeah, and then it cut to X-Files theme, and then, next it'd be Mulder and Scully kind of heading up there to investigate, and beautiful.
Yeah, have you ever heard of the Shipgoo-1 killer? Scully.
Yeah.
She'd be like, Mulder, that was just a blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so there's another good one for you anyway. Another weird life form.
No, I like that one. It's we're getting into sort of Monster of the Week.
Talking Monsters of the Week, July also saw a mystery figure dressed as a big cat on the prowl.
So not a big cat, a figure dressed as a big cat.
Yeah, and this is up north as well. So the bizarre sightings prompted a flurry of comments and photographs which were posted on the Facebook by residents living near Wallasey Beach in Wirral. Merseyside Police and Crime Commissioner Emmy Spurrell said she hoped anyone with concerns would report them to the police. One Facebook user posted, "Was walking my dog tonight and heard a man making cat noises. Shone a torch. He was waving his arms at me before crawling up the hill. Never been so scared." Another told the BBC how she was out for a dog walk when she noticed something strange. "I drove down to the coast by the Harvester pub to walk my dog, and as soon as I was away from the streetlights, I began to hear a feline growling to my left. My little terrier, Max, started barking away at the figure. So I got my phone for light and captured a short video. A man in a panther costume crawled up the hill on all fours. I didn't feel scared, really. He was just waving his arms and making panther noises. I felt more confused than scared." Another man walking his dog along the beach said he believed he knew who the figure might be and thought it was intended to be a prank. "I don't know his name. I think it's just a wind-up. He's definitely not out to frighten people. He does it for fun," he said. "He just likes being a giant cat. He doesn't frighten our dog."
Pervert, definitely. Some kind of pervert. That's the only possible explanation I can think of. He's got some kind of weird kink, hasn't he? Not wanting to kink shame, but that's what it is.
Yeah, there's no shame in it. He didn't seem to be...
He's not harmed anyone.
He just liked being a giant cat.
Yeah. Like a panther noise, is that like a kind of...
Maybe, that was quite good.
Really loud kind of purrs, I don't know.
It could be. I mean, that's my... Was it you?
Was what, me?
The Panther Man with that sort of practiced noise. It's almost like you're implying yourself.
No,
like saying, "Oh, do you think it sounded something like?" And then a perfect panther noise.
No, I'm not allowed to go in the Wirral.
Well, that's true. So July was so packed with stories that I just did a few short teaser ones to end us up with. Peter Jackson is helping to resurrect a species of giant extinct bird.
Nice.
Having partnered with Texas-based genetic engineering company Colossal Biosciences, Jackson is hoping to aid efforts to resurrect the moa, which was an enormous extinct bird native to New Zealand, South Island, that disappeared around 600 years ago.
Was that in the Usborne Book of Monsters? I have a feeling it was.
It could have been, yeah.
Yeah, I have a feeling that there was like a...
There was definitely a big bird of some sort in there.
Yeah. Or I've seen it in a book that I read around that time.
Yeah. And it's just another Colossal Biosciences one, they're just making a mess of everything. So separate story, 54-year-old paranormal investigator Dan Rivera dies suddenly whilst on the Devils on the Run tour, traveling around the United States with Annabelle, the haunted doll. It's also been associated with disturbing and malicious behavior, but in reality, it's extremely unlikely that the doll had anything to do with Rivera's death.
That's what the doll would say. That's what someone who had a doll holding a knife to the neck would say.
Yeah. Separate story, a man in Thailand dies after consuming nothing but beer for over a month.
Nice.
When the rescuers arrived, they found him unresponsive, surrounded by 100 empty beer bottles that had been arranged on the floor with a narrow path open between them. It's thought that a recent divorce was responsible for the man's descent into alcohol-fueled oblivion. According to nutritionists, while beer does contain calories, it is not enough on its own to sustain someone over an extended period, and also comes with the risk of nutrient deficiency and liver damage. So let that be a warning.
Let that be a warning.
Yeah.
Nice. Very good.
Nonsensical, narrow, world's thinnest car is unveiled in Italy, built by 30-year-old Italian mechanic Andrea Marazzi. The insane
Is he
vehicle,
really thin? Is he like a really thin man? It
says that the insane vehicle was put together using parts from an original 1993 Fiat Panda and was recently demonstrated at the 45th anniversary of the Panda in Pandino, a small town in Italy to the southwest of Milan. The car is 50 centimeters wide, so thin that it's impossible to even fit inside unless you happen to be relatively slim.
Relatively slim. So 50 centimeters is like...
half a meter, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah. So I'm holding up my hands here, but listeners can't see
about
that.
A foot and a half-ish.
Yeah, so it's about that, isn't it?
Yeah, you could probably squeeze in.
Yeah. I've got quite narrow shoulders, so I could probably get in, but I don't think I'd want to.
No, it sounds horrendously dangerous.
Yeah.
And finally, in July, Turin's shroud was said to have been laid out on a sculpture, not a real body, according to a new study, which said that the shroud was most likely not created by being placed on an actual human body, but was instead produced by being placed over a kind of low relief model.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Lord works in mysterious ways.
August 2025.
A new Turin shroud study suggests that it had once wrapped a body.
Right, okay.
So in August, it was reported that a new study has concluded the shroud did in fact once wrap a body, and it was headed up by Dr. Kelly Kearse, an immunologist trained at Johns Hopkins. They're always up to something weird, the immunologists.
Kelly Kearse?
Yeah, but spelled Kearse.
Right, okay. Kelly Kearse would be a great name.
Yeah. But immunologists, isn't Gary Nolan an immunologist?
Probably.
Yeah, and I think that Lou Elizondo had something to do with that at university. There's some kind of immunologists. I wouldn't trust them if I were you.
Lou Elizondo went to university.
He did. Yeah.
Was it the University of Life?
You have to ask him. Let's get him on Vayse. So the new analysis focused on determining whether the shroud had been placed on a body that had been washed as opposed to a body that still bore the bloodstains of violent injuries. Now, to me, that sounds like a very narrow study, since there isn't the option of it not being on a body. It's just, was it on a clean body or a dirty body? So it's probably no wonder that they didn't find that it had been placed on a low-relief sculpture. But anyway, the findings indicated that the markings on the shroud were consistent with an unwashed body, something you'd expect to see if it had genuinely been placed on Jesus's body, implying that, I don't know, Jesus was dirty. I suppose you would get dirty being crucified, wouldn't you?
Yeah, and plus most people then would probably quite dirty by today's standards.
So true. They also showed that a crucified body could potentially account for the patterns of stains on the cloth. While this is compelling evidence, this research is far from conclusive and is unlikely to convince everyone that the Turin shroud is the real deal.
Yeah, I mean, they could account for it, but that also means that it could be something else.
Yeah.
So it's just like a nothing. It's a great big nothing, that story.
That's correct.
I wish you'd not wasted my time with that one.
And talking of the Kelly curse, August 2025 was the 70th anniversary of the Kelly Hopkinsville goblin encounter, which allegedly occurred on the early morning of late night August 21st to early morning August 22nd in 1955. So just for a quick recap for people who don't know about the Kelly Hopkinsville encounter, it began on August 21st, 1955, when Billy Ray Taylor, who had been visiting his friend Elmer Sutton at his farmhouse in Kelly, Kentucky, spotted something strange in the sky while outside fetching water from a well. It's different times. UFOs and well water.
This is the water. This is the well.
Exactly. The object, which he described as silver in colour, real bright, and with an exhaust of all the colours of the rainbow. I like that, like puffing along like a nice rainbow. Proved so terrifying that he ran indoors and informed both his wife and the other members of the Sutton family that there was a UFO outside and that it had come down somewhere nearby. Before long, the family had become convinced that there really was someone or something approaching their farmhouse. What followed was a lengthy standoff lasting several hours against alleged alien entities, strange goblin or gremlin-like creatures described by the family as being approximately 3 feet tall with oversized heads, large eyes, and talons for fingers. They were also said to have yellow, glowing eyes and silvery metallic skin. These supposed creatures were witnessed by several members of the family, sometimes peering in the windows and at other times retreating into the trees. Both Sutton and Taylor, terrified by what was happening, grabbed guns and tried to shoot at the creatures, but with little success. Eventually, unsure of what else to do, both families bundled into the car and drove to the Hopkinsville police station to ask for help. Officers could see immediately that they were in a clear state of panic about what had happened to them, with one of the family registering a pulse in excess of 140 beats per minute. The 4 officers quickly drove out to the farmhouse to see for themselves what was going on. They found signs of a struggle, including multiple bullet holes, but no evidence of the creatures. So that's the experience. I like it because it's a weird shootout, and a shootout that lasts several hours. And it sounds quite terrifying when you hear, the idea of aliens peeping in through the windows and hiding behind trees. And you can just imagine this crazy, I was going to say, I don't want to characterize them necessarily as rednecks, but like a crazy redneck family, shooting guns into the woods to try and kill these goblins.
Even if it was made up, the imagery was very powerful, and then that's gone on to sort of contribute significantly to sort of UFO and weird lore.
Yeah. Now, the alleged encounter was officially classified as a hoax in the Project Blue Book files by the United States Air Force. And psychologists actually used the alleged incident as an academic example of pseudoscience to help students distinguish truth from fiction.
Right.
So quite closed-minded there, but...
Yeah, because we all know that the two are very malleable.
Yeah. So possible explanations of what it could be include, obviously the hoax, or the family had actually encountered great horned owls or eagle owls, or a family of owls. They might have been attempting to defend their nest. Some people think it was mass hysteria, which was combined by meteor sightings at the same night, or it could actually just be an encounter with another worldly entity.
Yeah.
And it's had massive influence, like you were saying. Helia Pennyroyal.
Yeah.
The film Critters was based on that loosely.
Was it? Oh, yeah. That's cool.
And there was a musical called It Came from Kentucky in Chicago. And there's a festival each year in Kelly called the Little Green Men Days Festival.
Yeah. That's cool. It's a good story. It's
70 years though. That's old now, isn't it?
That was another one that was in the Usborne Book of UFOs, wasn't it? That one, I think.
Was it? I can't remember. Yeah.
Because
it's all been recontextualized for me from Helia and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I forget
I remember
that I'd ever read
the drawing.
Yeah.
The little guy
with the big ears. Yeah. Okay, so the next one, also in August, and take it with a pinch of salt because the only report I could find on this one was on the Mail Online, so it's probably bullshit. But a 32-year-old British train driver, Oliver Alves, claims that he hasn't slept since December 2023.
Okay.
So that's August of 2025, so a year and a half, basically.
Yeah.
Slightly more. Oliver shared that he begged doctors, emailed specialists from around the world, and offered to pay for long-term observation, but no expert has been able to put an end to his misery. He reportedly sold his house and spent tens of thousands of pounds around the world seeking treatment. He's also undergone dozens of therapies, including cognitive behavioral therapy, hypnotherapy, sound baths, acupuncture, and meditation retreats. He says he's tried different types of medication, from benzodiazepines to opioids, and none have worked. According to Oliver, even the strong anesthetics used to sedate patients before surgery had no effect on him. He recalled that a doctor in Turkey told him, "You're a very powerful man," after administering a strong sedative and finding that he remained awake. He said, this is Oliver, not the Turkish man. His part's finished, unfortunately, although I like the sound of him. I've spent the last 21 months in a nightmare, struggling to survive in a body that seems to be on fire, burning from the inside. I feel like my eyes are melting. I can't walk in a straight line. My eyesight is impaired. I can't digest food properly. I can no longer relate to anyone. Nothing gives me pleasure or fun. Not watching a movie, not eating, not reading a book. And day and night I stay awake, not even sleepy, trapped in a mind that cannot rest, recover, or reset.
Those would be great lyrics.
Yeah.
Like if you can imagine them like Slipknot or something, like
or Korn.
Yeah. Wow, our references are
up to date, bang up to date.
Yeah. That is horrible. That's like a horrible, like...
Yeah, but I also, I mean, if we're thinking critically, it's impossible. Yeah, you couldn't survive like that. So
as far as we know,
Professor,
it's only because no one has.
Well, let's see what Professor Guy Leschinzer, one of the UK's top neurologists, said. He said that the case defies medical understanding, as complete insomnia has been shown to be lethal in animals. In animal research, total sleep deprivation is lethal within weeks, he said. While for ethical reasons we do not have very clear data from humans, dogs that are kept awake will invariably die within 17 days, and rats will also die within 32 days. It's called fatal insomnia. It seems mean that they do that to dogs and rats.
I was going to say, like, surely just like do it to, if you've got to do it to dogs, like he was talking about that in the present tense as if they're still doing it.
Yeah.
My
it sounds
God.
really mean as well, keeping a dog awake. I wouldn't want that.
Yeah.
So if someone goes 72 hours without sleep, they'll become irritable, anxious, depressed, and might also start to hallucinate. I remember between high school and uni, you did that, didn't you? I remember, because I stayed over at your house while you stayed awake.
Yeah, I did two nights, or tried to do 2 nights. I think I drifted off a bit in the second night. But yeah, it does make you very fucked up.
Because you saw the bees, didn't you?
It just like, yeah, like in the corners.
Yeah.
Just like, it was like, it was quite a while ago now. It was like, obviously kind of, like what, 28 years ago or something like that.
Yeah,
so it's quite a long time ago. But yeah, it is, like, I can't think of what it's similar to. There's certain things I see where I think, oh, that's what it reminds me of when...
Yeah, it really, really fucks with you not sleeping, doesn't it? I mean, I hate it. I really try and sleep properly now. I didn't used to, but I need between 7 and 8 hours as a minimum, and I start to really go downhill if I don't get that.
Yeah,
but like everything feels worse, doesn't it?
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Like,
that's like
horrendous.
That's like a huge contributor to hangovers. It's just lack of sleep. And it just, it fucks with you. Like, it's like, I think I get like, I get between 6 and 7 most nights.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it's better than it used to be. But I do absolutely everything to get me to, I have like really strict sleep hygiene and all of that stuff. Like, I don't take anything to help me sleep because I don't want to be reliant on something to help me sleep, and then if I don't have it, so I try and do it naturally. But yeah, I fucking love going to sleep now. Absolutely love it.
My dreams are a lot better when I sleep the right amount as well. I've been writing them down recently. And all my dreams at the moment are really based around having to do taxing and unpleasant tasks, which doesn't sound very relaxing, but it's quite nice because I'm asleep at the time rather than when I'm awake, when I'm doing unpleasant and demanding tasks all day. Without being asleep. So if I have to choose one, I prefer the one when I get to rest whilst I do them. But, you know, things like, I remember there was one the other night when I was driving round and around a car park trying to find a car parking space. And then I had to like pick up my car and carry it on my back to get it to the right space. And then last night I was in this hotel room and the shower with water was coming out brown and the whole thing started flooding. And it was just like really like unpleasant situations. And I always have to kind of try and fix something or solve some sort of taxing problem.
I had a good one. I say a good one, an evocative one where I sneezed and like there was like an insect came out. It was like, it didn't have any legs, but it had like pincers.
Yeah.
Like imagine like a thin scorpion, something between a scorpion and a worm with like little pincers. And it was quite small, but it was concerning. And I went to a doctor and he was like, all right, okay, let's have a look. And the doctor was just not alarmed and was just treating it as if I had like, you know, a sore throat or something.
Bastard.
And I was trying to explain to him, you know, this is not normal. This is gross. And then I looked at, and I went home and I opened a packet of eggs, and I could see that some of the eggs in this packet, I'd eaten some of them. You know, like a regular like carton of eggs. I'd eaten some of them, but the ones that I hadn't, one of the ones that I hadn't eaten had like cracked, and there was insects coming out of it, the same insects. So what had happened was it had been in one of the eggs I'd eaten. And that's how
there's a few Reddit stories that are like that, not meant to be dreams if they're real, but they're very similar.
Oh, right, yeah.
Just people like, with parasites. But like, it sounds like a mental problem when you read it rather than actually being real.
I think I was reading, before I went to bed, I was reading The Goblin Universe by Ted Holiday, and it was talking about the Loch Ness Monster and like how, like some of the sightings of it described it more like a worm. Rather than like, you know, something with flippers and you know, just as like a long, really long thin. And it was describing all these different types of underwater worm that you can get in the ocean and stuff like that, and how they break apart and they make two worms and stuff like that. And I think it was inspired by that.
There's a good Reddit, what do you call it? Like subreddit that you can go to where people just write down their dreams. And there was an incredible one the other day, very short one, where this guy dreamt that he was working for a newspaper, and and he wrote a headline so good that he ejaculated himself awake. Like, because how good this headline was. And he said like that he'd never wanted to be a journalist in his life or anything. It was just like a random dream. So, you know, I think some people are getting a better deal than I am with my dirty hotel water and everything.
How are we going to top that now? With the, like, nothing that happened last year was as good as that.
No,
there was that famous Reddit post where that guy had a dream that he had like a whole life. And he had like and it's heartbreaking. Like he had like a wife and kids,
I read that.
And it went on for what seemed like for and he woke up and it felt like he'd actually lived it.
Yeah.
And it's, oh God, it's devastating. I mean, it was probably just a really good story, like a really good made up story, but like.
But I know that feeling though of living another life where something interesting is happening and then you wake up and you can't continue it, and it is quite horrible. Anyway, back to the original story. Apparently, if someone goes 72 hours without sleep, they'll become irritable, anxious, depressed, and might also start to hallucinate. So I think I said that already. The Cleveland Clinic notes that the longest recording period has been someone who's gone without sleep for 11 days and 25 minutes. So considerably longer than you did. So imagine what they must have felt like. It must have been like, you know, if you were seeing bees and all that sort of thing after 2 days, after 11, it must have been just sheer agony. That someone was Randy Gardner, a 17-year-old who challenged himself to stay awake for as long as he could in 1963 as part of a science fair project.
highly unethical. But I suppose, maybe the teacher didn't know that that's what he was doing.
Yeah, like I've never gone more than 42 hours was the longest I did. And that's when I was working in television and I had to do back-to-back days of shooting. And that was bad enough. I mean, I was really, really, really out of it. Like, it wasn't even unpleasant by that point. It just felt like I was dreaming when I was awake.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that's not as long as you did. And then you were hallucinating after two days. And this guy, 11 days, he must have, I mean, it sounds like he could have died from that.
Yeah, it becomes like psychosis after a while, doesn't it? It's like,
But what a doctor says is that one possibility is that this Alvis guy could be experiencing paradoxical insomnia, also known as sleep state misperception, which again, according to the Cleveland Clinic, occurs when someone feels like they have insomnia symptoms, even though they're actually getting a healthy amount of sleep.
Right.
I've experienced that. Probably more than I have insomnia. The worry that I'm not sleeping enough, even though evidence would suggest afterwards that I had slept.
Yeah. I think some of it, like I sometimes think I'll lie awake at night and the time I'm awake trying to get to sleep feels like hours, but it was actually only a couple of minutes because I was in my own head and sort of focusing on it. And then if you imagine that kind of taken to an extreme, then it could be something like that. Yeah, I was thinking that, like, did he just like fall asleep in a chair for a few hours and then woke up but didn't realize he'd slept?
Yeah.
Because you maybe if you go for, let's say he went for 10 days without sleep, right? Then he wouldn't be in necessarily a good state to know if he was asleep or awake. That's the paradox, isn't it? Like,
well, I think it suggests that you don't even need to have insomnia at all. That there's something wrong, I think, with the recall of whether you've been asleep or not.
Right.
So you actually do sleep, but you wake up thinking you haven't, thinking you've been awake all night. And I've definitely had that.
Yeah, like I've had insomnia where I've like, where I'd just constantly wake up at 3 o'clock and not be able to get back to sleep.
Right,
Where I'd only get sort of 3 or 4 hours sleep a night, but I've never had full on cannot sleep insomnia.
No. See, I thought I had, but now I think that I hadn't. I think I was actually sleeping and was just not recalling sleeping properly.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I could have gone for the period that I thought I had without getting
You
sleep.
wouldn't be here now.
No, exactly. Anyway, to finish off August, a man claimed to have found Bigfoot remains in New York State. So, a team led by Bigfoot expert Charles Snake Stewart, it's a trustworthy name, found a Bigfoot specimen in the Adirondack Mountains. And I don't think I said that right, but that's the best that we're going to get. The corpse was exhibited in the Great New York State Fair in the Horticulture Building from August the 20th to September the 1st of 2025. The creature, which was nicknamed Dak, stood approximately 8 feet tall with a heavily muscled build and thick brown hair covering most of its body. Its facial features were a mix of human and ape-like characteristics, including a heavy brow ridge and a wide, powerful jaw. The cause of death remains unknown, with no obvious signs of trauma or injury. So according to Snake's website, analysis of the creature's soft tissue, including muscles, skin, and hair, has offered clues about its physiology, behavior, and environmental adaptation. Notably, the presence of a baculum, or reproductive bone, provides significant insights into Bigfoot's reproductive methods.
Reproductive bone.
Yeah.
Is that what they're calling it now?
Apparently so. The specimen also emits a pungent odor, reminiscent of a mix between skunk and human body odor. If all this sounds too good to be true, however, that's likely because it is, and critics argue that the corpse is little more than a costume and a mask. So I think there's a bit of a P.T. Barnum thing going on there.
Yeah, like the Fiji mermaid or whatever.
Yeah, he's made a little exhibit.
Well, quite a big exhibit.
Yeah, and it's smelly as well with a reproductive bone. Big stinking reproductive bone.
That's a shame.
What about the reproductive bone?
Well, just that it was a fake. It seemed so real, but
Yeah.
he seemed like a trustworthy guy. You built him up in my mind as being a sort of Steve Irwin type character.
Yeah, we've got to keep an eye on Charles Snake Stewart, I would suggest.
September 2025.
Straight off the bat, the Pentagon denies existence of the Yankee Blue memo reported by the Wall Street Journal. In September of 2025, the Office of the Secretary of Defense issued a final response to a FOIA, that's a Freedom of Information Act case, which concerned questions around a widely circulated Wall Street Journal article that described a Department of Defense effort known as Yankee Blue. According to the Wall Street Journal, the Pentagon ordered an immediate halt to a practice in which military officers misled subordinates into believing they were working on reverse engineering extraterrestrial technology.
Like Bob Lazar or
Lou Elizondo.
Lou Elizondo, yeah.
But when pressed for the underlying documentation, the Pentagon now says no such memo exists.
No, of course not.
The FOIA request, specifically sought a copy of the memorandum issued by the Office of the Secretary of Defense in spring 2023 ordering the immediate cessation of practices associated with the so-called Yankee Blue program. And the response stated that after thorough searches of the electronic records and files of CMD, no records of the kind you described could be identified.
Who made the request?
I think it was this website called the Black Vault, who I think look into these sort of UFO type things. So this particular Wall Street Journal story has been frequently cited by skeptics as a definitive account explaining long-standing rumors of US programs tied to recovered non-human technology. But with the Pentagon's FOIA responses turning up empty, the reliability of that reporting is now under scrutiny. Either the FOIA system is omitting the responsive material through error or concealment, or the memo and briefings described in the article never existed, or at the very least never existed in the way they were reported. Appeals are pending, but for now, the official record does not align with the narrative that has been widely circulated in media coverage.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah, because it's almost like the reverse of what you'd expect. You know, they found evidence that it was all a fake, but they can't find proof that that evidence was real.
Yeah, it's very Mirage Men, but like you say, mirrored Mirage Men.
Yeah. And I think something like that does exist. It's in Mirage Men, isn't it? They say that some people are specifically tasked to go and influence the young soldiers to think that there's something going on that there might not be.
Yeah.
And I think that that's clearly something that's been done to certain people in the media who are whistleblowers and that kind of thing. Leading on from that, in August, Lockheed Martin unveiled advanced stealth combat drone Vectis.
Sounds like the bad guy from like an 80s TV show or Stranger Things, I guess.
Yeah. Or like a sort of, I could imagine like an 80s computer game, something that you could get on the Atari.
Vectis, the age of
Lockheed.
Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me if Lockheed Martin weren't responsible for at least like 50% of UFO sightings, if not more.
Yeah.
Like just mad shit that they're building.
I know. This particular one, Vectis, was unveiled on the 21st of September 2025 and is a state-of-the-art stealth drone designed to work seamlessly with existing systems. So Lockheed Martin General Manager O.J. Sanchez said, Vectis is the culmination of our expertise in complex systems integration, advanced fighter development, and autonomy. We're not simply building a new platform, we're creating a new paradigm for air power based on highly capable, customizable, and affordable agile drone framework.
I hate that.
Yeah.
It's
just a load of nonsense.
It's just loads of corporate bullshit, isn't it?
Yeah. And according to the press release, the new drone will be capable of executing precision strike, ISR targeting, electronic warfare, and offensive and defensive counter-air missions. It just sounds like a death machine, a flying death machine.
Yeah.
And that came just weeks after sightings of a mysterious V-shaped craft over Los Angeles. Our new friend, Mark Christopher Lee, told the Daily Mail, so we're getting a lot of very truthful, dependable sources packed up together here, that he believes that the craft was not an alien spaceship. adding it was likely an unmanned drone testing out new technology for the US government or some other world power. And he said, I'm convinced that a lot of famous UFO incidents are basically highly advanced terrestrial technology that is 30 to 40 years ahead of what we think they have.
Well, yeah.
So, 29th of September, Avi Loeb, again, 3i Atlas. He said that 3i Atlas may have been the source of the wow signal.
Oh, yeah. I remember seeing that, yeah.
It sounds like nonsense to me,
Wow.
but apparently originating in the globular cluster of M55 in the constellation Sagittarius, the peculiar signal lasted approximately 72 seconds. And astronomer Jerry Ayman, who was the first to examine the computer readout, famously wrote the word wow on the page. So that was 1977. But what Loeb says, he wrote a piece on his blog basically saying that 3i Atlas might actually be the originator of the mysterious signal. The reason that he said that was that 3i Atlas is situated in the same approximate direction as the origin of the signal. And he says the chance of two random directions in the sky being aligned to that level is about 0.6%. And then he went on to consider what would happen if we received a signal from 3i Atlas. The urgency of a response would depend on the rank of the object on the Loeb scale, he wrote. Rank 10,
scale.
Yeah, which suggests an imminent threat akin to a visitor in our backyard who is capable of approaching the front door requiring an immediate response. But even a low rank would necessitate a contingency plan because of the major implications to humanity if the threat is realized. As things stand, however, there's absolutely no evidence to suggest that 3i Atlas possesses any sort of threat.
I like how he's made a little scale for himself.
Yeah, it's quite cute, that, isn't it?
You should do one. The Hine
Hine
scale.
scale.
What would it describe?
What would it measure?
Everything.
I'll work on it. I'll think about it. I'll think about it over the next week. So this is one of my favorites of the year to finish off September. There was a tentacled alien growing from a meteorite in Panama.
Nice.
Yes. So TikTok videos, again, very reliable sources, began circulating of a tentacled alien growing from a meteorite inside a locked safe in some guy's house in Panama. And, I mean, it started when this guy posted footage of what he claimed to be a meteorite hatching. Like it hatched like a patch of green algae, I think, originally. Right. And then it started to kind of sprout. I'll put the video or the video on, or link to the video on the website, on the show notes. Yeah. But it started to kind of sprout black tentacles.
Okay.
Now, when you look at the videos that I'll put in the show notes, you'll see a spray painted potato that's sprouting and is kind of been painted silver. Yeah. But it kind of pulsates a little bit.
Yeah.
And so how did that happen?
Maybe you put like a fan on it or something? Or?
Well, yeah, some guy on Reddit called High Strangeness, so I'm inclined to believe him, said that the kind of breathing motion isn't an alien life form at all, but instead it's a silicon-based polymer called polydimethylsiloxane. It's abbreviated to PDMS, which is widely used in practical special effects. And combined with a dash of hexane, it causes this sort of wiggling movement.
Right, so it's not a potato?
Oh, it's a potato. It's just been sprayed with that weird chemical.
And the weird chemical makes it move.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Have a look, see what you think.
Yeah.
October 2025.
Already, on the 3rd of October, 3i Atlas was back in the news, and it was a picture caught by the Mars Perseverance rover. And it was a cool image showing not what you would expect, but a kind of strange cylindrical object moving across the Martian sky. What you would have expected probably would have been more like a comet with a tail.
Yeah.
But it's like a kind of long cylindrical thing.
Yeah.
But, and this is quite a short story, the most likely explanation is that the camera used a long exposure time.
Yeah, so it looks like it's...
Yeah, exactly. So forget that one.
Yeah.
But what made me think about this story as well, from what you were just talking about, always you coughing up that little alien thing in your dream. In October, scientists thawed out a 40,000-year-old organism that was trapped in Arctic ice.
That's
It's not a good idea, is it?
yeah. I mean, come on.
That's that episode of the X-Files that
The
made
one
me
that's
think of
clearly based on
The Thing.
the thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Researchers at the University of Colorado in Boulder thawed out the 40,000-year-old organism extracted from the walls of permafrost, which is like the permafrost tunnel research facility in Alaska. And they noted that not only were they alive, but they'd woken up and formed new colonies within just a few months. It sounds very, very dangerous to me.
Yeah.
The study lead, Tristan Caro, said, "These are not dead samples by any means. They're still very much capable of hosting robust life that can break down organic matter and release it as carbon dioxide." So organisms being revived in this way is one thing, but the purpose of the research is to study the effects of the permafrost thawing out on its own. So I think they're kind of justifying it by saying, look, well, this is going to happen anyway. We better see what's down there.
Yeah.
Which also sounds bad.
Yeah. It also reminds me of talking of bad, True Detective season 4.
I've still not watched that.
Oh,
No.
it's terrible.
The Guardian in October. We're in October now, aren't we? The Guardian reported that bored aliens have stopped bothering trying to contact us. So according to a new paper by the University of Maryland's Dr. Robin Corbett, the reality might be that super advanced technology simply doesn't exist and that alien civilizations may peak at a technological level not much more advanced than our own. And it embraces the principle of radical mundanity, which shuns the notion of extraterrestrials zipping around across the universe after harnessing physics beyond our comprehension, and instead proposes a Milky Way that's home to a modest number of civilizations with technology not wildly more impressive than our own. So, like, the way that he said it was, it's like having an iPhone 42 rather than an iPhone 17. Like, that sounds like they're just a few years ahead of us then. And he says, that he came up with the hypothesis after considering researchers' explanations for the great silence of the Fermi paradox, the discrepancy between the lack of compelling evidence for alien civilizations and the likelihood of their existence in a vast and aged universe. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, radical mundanity. What do you think?
Sounds a bit radically boring to me.
Yeah. I don't know. It does sound boring.
Like, if you're gonna make stuff up,
Yeah.
at least make it. If you're gonna be not make stuff up, but if you're gonna operate in that world, in that sort of UFO alien area, then at least make it exciting.
Exactly. It's quite a boring speculation, really, isn't it?
Yeah, like who wants that? No one's going to be interested in that. That's not gonna feed into like the culture of it and lead to more weird shit happening.
No one's going to talk about that on podcasts.
No, God,
no one should anyway.
That'd be like
radically mundane.
Yeah, it'd just be fucking stupid. Like for like even for like seasoned podcasters like ourselves to talk about it, it would be
unthinkable. Talking of unthinkable, my wife turns into a snake at night, a man claims in a series of bizarre domestic disputes.
Okay.
October of 2025 offered that up to us. So what this man has said, his name was Mirage. And what
Mirage
he said,
Man.
Yeah, exactly, the Mirage Man. My wife, Nasiman, is mentally unstable and spends the night pretending to be a naggin, hissing and scaring me.
Right.
For some reason, I put that twice in my notes. That little bit. I must have liked it.
It's scaring me.
My wife tries to kill me every night. My life was saved because I woke up at that time. My wife is mentally torturing me. She is more likely to kill me when I'm sleeping. She has bitten me once. However, according to his wife, he had been constantly making up stories about her because he wants to marry someone else. Like, can't believe they reported on this. He constantly harassed me for dowry, she said. I'm 4 months pregnant, but my husband does not pay any attention to my medical or food expenses. Yeah, so that's just a bit of craziness there for you.
Yeah, I like that one. That was good.
Yeah.
I hope it works out okay for her.
Yeah. I used to have a few books when I was a kid, and I got rid of a lot of them, unfortunately, when I was moving house once, but they were full of weird little reports from
the
newspapers.
Ripley's Believe It or Not ones?
No, I've still got those. They were just like little books. I got them from the works years and years ago, like in the 90s, and they were just bizarre newspaper articles in these little paperback books.
November 2025.
I put this one in. It's sort of not really from 2025, but it was put together in an article in 2025 in Popular Mechanics, where they basically were doing an article suggesting that there was these other articles from the past few years, which, when read together, suggest that organ donors might pass on their personality traits, which has been in theory, it's been around for years and years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've always quite liked that one because it also suggests the delocalization of the mind and memories and maybe even consciousness. So, according to an article in Popular Mechanics, emerging research hints at a phenomena in which organ recipients can sometimes take on the personality traits and memories of their donors long after that surgery is over. What's interesting here is that these recent articles are coming to a kind of scientific consensus of what could be doing that. Whereas when I used to read about it as a kid, it was much more almost in with ghosts, wasn't it? You know, almost like a ghost haunting your body. I remember one that there was one where some woman had a heart transplant and the guy had been a motorcyclist and she'd gone and got herself a motorcycle and started eating steak and all that kind of thing.
I'm sure there was like a League of Gentlemen like sketch or episode that involved that kind of thing. That's the sort of thing those guys would be into.
Anyway, in recent research, scientists have noted that bidirectional communication occurs between the brain and the body's other organs, and that this phenomenon seems particularly prevalent in cases where a patient has received a heart transplant. Studies indicate that heart transplant recipients may exhibit preferences, emotions, and memories resembling those of the donors, suggesting a form of memory storage within the transplanted organ, wrote the authors of a 2024 review in Curious, a peer-reviewed medical science journal. Further, the heart's complex neural network, which the study authors call heart-brain, supports bidirectional communication with the brain and other organs. They write in the paper, indeed, experiences in which organ transplant recipients take on personality traits of the donor have been most commonly documented in heart transplants, as per a 2024 study in transplantology. And a 2020 research article in Medical Hypotheses backs this up, saying the acquisition of donor personality characteristics by recipients following heart transplantation is hypothesized to occur via the transfer of cellular memory. So this was in the Medical Hypotheses. They said as well that memories from the donor's life are hypothesized to be stored in the cells of the donated heart and are then remembered by the recipient following transplant surgery. This is like, I find this super interesting because I like the idea of delocalized consciousness. It's something that I've been thinking about a lot. And I can't remember what I was reading that, I don't know, I've read a lot recently, but just the general idea that consciousness probably isn't stored just purely locally in the brain. It's probably just, like in some sort of, your brain's more like a receiver for it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
The consciousness is an external thing that we tap into, perhaps.
Yeah, like a radio receiver or whatever.
Yeah. So an example is Alison Conklin, who received a heart transplant in 2022. Now, she wasn't a person who shied away from meat in her diet. She ate chicken and poultry all the time, and her favorite meal was Thanksgiving dinner. But after her transplant, the idea of eating it made her stomach churn, and she became a vegetarian. It's been 3 years since her transplant, and Conklin is still a vegetarian. While she's never met her donor to confirm, well, I don't think she would because she's got that heart. It'd be odd if she met her donor.
Unless they got a donor from someone else.
Yeah, like did a bit of a swap. Or maybe they swapped.
Swaps hearts, yeah.
But this is a bit of a weird one because I remember thinking this when I read the article, because she doesn't really get any proof. She just kind of thinks that her donor was probably a vegetarian because she became a vegetarian after her heart surgery.
Yeah, and it's like, so
it's not quite
if you've had heart surgery, then chances are you've probably thought, I should probably start living a bit more healthily.
Yeah. She also experienced deja vu. But again, I think there are better cases than that to back it up.
That's like a good old-fashioned, like, 70s story, that, isn't it? That's like, it's like the sort of thing that's in Goblin Universe.
Yeah.
They don't make them like that anymore.
No, Colin Wilson would have loved something like that.
Yeah.
Avi Loeb was back in November, this time saying that 3i Atlas may be delivering alien probes to Jupiter.
Right, okay.
Hot on the heels of NASA's confirmation that 3i Atlas was just a regular comet, Avi Loeb, who had been suggesting that it could actually be an intelligently controlled extraterrestrial vehicle, suddenly started saying that he believed the object is exhibiting a particularly unlikely interest in visiting Jupiter. So this was again on his blog, in which he explained that the trajectory of the comet so far seems to have put it on a direct path for Jupiter's radius of gravitational influence. And he maintains that the previously observed non-gravitational acceleration of 3i Atlas seems to have been placed on a trajectory which will reach Jupiter's gravitational pull sometime at around March 16th, 2026. So it's still to come, it could still happen.
Of course, always.
And he claims that it would perfectly position it if its intention was to release probes into the Jovian orbit. I mean, no evidence for any of this, of course.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a feeling that he might be a bit of a grifter. I don't know where this is coming from.
No. I don't get why, because he's a Harvard professor, isn't he? I don't know why. I mean, is he still at Harvard? I need to know a bit more about him, I think.
Yeah.
Is he still at Harvard?
It could just be shits and giggles.
Yeah. It could be a big joke.
It could be the same thing that's happened to Uri Geller.
Yeah, it feels like that. That year when Uri Geller was just talking shit every month.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's probably every year, isn't it?
But
that year when we talked about it.
It seems to be a similar, like
he'll say anything.
Yeah, just like a similar kind of descent into like desperation.
Yes.
And I wonder how much of that is impacted by the feedback that he gets from it. So if he gets a bunch of feedback from people say, "Oh wow, this is amazing," then that makes him believe it a bit more.
Yeah.
Like a weird like kind of feedback loop that
yeah, I'm sure that has something to do with it, because social media has allowed that to happen. Whereas if you think about how Uri Geller used to do it, he'd kind of release a book and then he'd appear on a TV show and then he'd maybe get a special on the BBC or something, but he couldn't just do it as quickly as he has been. And I imagine that it's the same for this Loeb guy.
It's like a symbiotic kind of relationship where it's like
basically people are encouraging him. And they shouldn't.
Yeah. But they're encouraging it because they have a need for this like escape, for this kind of wonder, which I can relate to massively. And I have my equivalents of these things that I probably believe that are bullshit. But then that feeds into him doing it more, and at some point along the way, you lose yourself. Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked a lot. And we're going to talk again, I imagine, soon about the idea of LARPing. But I wonder to what extent this has just become a bit of a game to him, a bit of something that gives him some purpose, and he can play along with making these outrageous comments, and he becomes the wacky scientist like Jeff Goldblum or Jeff. Is it?
Independence Day.
Is he the scientist in that? No, is he? Well, both really.
He's a scientist in both. Yeah. But he's a bit crazier in Jurassic Park.
Yeah. He sort of sees himself as the mad scientist, and I don't know. I need to know more about him. I think he's kind of been on my radar for a while, making these weird claims, and people seem to take him really seriously. But when I say people, I mean certain podcasters who like to take everything seriously.
And the audience of certain podcasters.
But getting closer to probably what the core of all this mystery is, in November, the US Army's secretive PSYOP group releases a chilling recruitment video on Facebook.
Right.
So the 4th Psychological Operations Group, Airborne, which is a long-running military information support operations, that's what they call it, based in Fort Bragg. And the goal of it is to psychologically influence its opponents, whether that be enemy combatants or even whole countries. And I imagine the US public as well, although it doesn't say that on their website.
No, but come on.
Yeah. To degrade morale, to persuade combatants not to fight, or to inspire beneficial uprisings. But in an unexpected move in November, they published a really quite disturbing video, which I will again post in the show notes. It says, "There's another force applied in combat that we generally don't think of as a weapon of war. That weapon is words. We are everywhere. Words are our weapon."
Wow.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to say that weapon is love.
Well, no, I don't think they're those kind of people. No.
Okay.
And the video features these like bits of clips and stuff. There's kind of historical military footage and old cartoons and montage sequences. It's really quite pleasant.
And what do you think they're talking about? Like words, like propaganda, basically. And
That's what
stories.
It seems like on the surface. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's no way that they don't use that domestically. I mean, the IC are actually just shooting American citizens at the moment.
Yeah.
Just on the street for no reason.
Yeah.
So there's absolutely no way that they don't also get into people's heads. There's absolutely the chances of that. I mean, you know my belief in this whole thing, that I think that most of what we experience is actually a manipulation that someone's done to us.
Yeah. You're getting fully noided.
I am fully noided. To the point where I just don't care, as much as I probably should, because I just, we'll talk about this at this later episode.
We're preparing for a noided episode.
Yeah. So I've to lighten things a little bit, I've got another fungus for you.
Okay.
This one is inside the Chernobyl exclusion zone.
Oh yeah.
And it's evolved a new ability. So, clinging to the interior walls of one of the most radioactive buildings on Earth, Unit 4 reactor at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, scientists have found a strange black fungus curiously living its best life. And this is according to an article in sciencealert.com.
This is according to an article written by the fungus.
Yeah, this with its strange new ability.
Yeah, it's done its blog.
Yeah. So this one's called Cladososporium sphaeriospermum.
Okay.
I think I said that right. So anyway, this fungus, some scientists think that its dark pigment, melanin, may allow it to harness ionizing radiation through a process similar to the way plants harness light for photosynthesis. So this is a proposed mechanism they've come up with called radiosynthesis. And although scientists have shown that the fungus flourishes in the presence of ionizing radiation, no one's been able to pin down how or why. Radiosynthesis is theory, but it's quite difficult to prove. But this fungus and other ones like it appear to be harvesting ionizing radiation and converting it into energy, with melanin performing a similar function to the light-absorbing pigment chlorophyll. That's quite nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great. I actually did read that story.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So they could use it because this will also act as almost an absorber of radiation as well.
Yeah, because I know that they've done stuff with like other kinds of pollution with fungus, where it kind of absorbs that. And also they've had like fungus growing on like, I think they grew some fungus on like cigarettes, just on like cigarette butts. And they grew out of cigarette butts and took like the crap out of them, kind of. Yeah, there's all sorts that fungus can do. It's an amazing.
Yeah, I think that people need to be spending more money on looking.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fungus than they do giving Avi Loeb however much he's getting paid at Harvard to
Yeah.
spout shit. They could be doing that because, I mean, I think we're going to go off topic a little bit, but I find COVID intelligence incredibly interesting.
Yeah.
But also
Dolphins.
No, COVID, birds.
No, I was saying. I was agreeing. I was saying adding dolphins to the
dolphins. Okay.
Yeah,
I thought you were saying, what do you mean dolphins? I was like, no, COVID.
No. What I'm saying is, there are intelligences on this earth that we need more
octopuses,
more work into. Yeah.
And fungus. I think whether or not like intelligence, as you would think a conscious intelligence, it's definitely got an organization and a purpose. They have little purposes and they do their own thing. I think that people need to be looking into that. I mean, they're finding. I put an article this year, which I'll probably talk about in the Weird Review next year. But I put
which we'll record in like March 2027.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. But it was a cow using a tool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, terrifying, but the scientists didn't think they could do that. So it's kind of, there's obviously a lot of forms of intelligence on this planet that they're not looking into because they're preoccupied either fighting or pretending that there's extraterrestrials that we can contact. And there probably are extraterrestrials, as we said. Anyway, finally for November, a man woke up to discover that his malfunctioning car was packed full of hazelnuts. Yeah.
Is that a euphemism or?
Well, let's find out. We'll see the subtext. The man, who hails from Jixi City in China's Heilongjiang province, had been hearing strange noises coming from his car for quite some time. It wasn't until the vehicle's heating system began to malfunction as well that he eventually decided to drive up to a garage and have a mechanic take a look at it. When the mechanic opened up the engine compartment, however, he was shocked to discover that the cause of all these issues was in fact a huge stash of hazelnuts. The nuts were everywhere, filling up all the internal spaces and even the air vents. In total, it took 2 hours to completely remove all the hazelnuts from the car's interior. While it might seem as though a squirrel would be the most likely culprit of all of this, it turned out that the actual animal responsible for stashing all the nuts in the car was a rat.
Right, okay. Just this one single rat.
I guess so. It sounds busy, probably highly intelligent, probably got an agenda.
Probably working for the Hazelnut King.
Yeah. I wonder what he's up to.
Yeah, the Peanut King's lesser known cousin.
Yeah, I don't associate with the Hazelnut King.
I don't know enough about him really to make a judgment.
I've heard things.
You've heard dark things, Makes he controls the rats.
Yeah, exactly. He's the rat god.
In the sewers.
Yeah. The car itself had been kept in a garage during the day, and it just so happened that the man had been storing a large bag of hazelnuts nearby. The rat, for whatever reason, had repeatedly snuck into the bag and moved the nuts to the car.
Right.
So I like that rat.
It reminds me of there's this video I used to watch on YouTube. I'll try and find it, where this guy like takes his computer, gets someone round to fix his computer, and the computer repairman opens up the computer, and the inside of it is just full of beans. And the guy's like, "Is this like?"
Is there a reason why it was full of beans?
Yeah, he'd put it in there, so it was like a prank he'd played on the computer repair guy.
Oh right.
So like but he's pretending that he doesn't see anything wrong with it, and he's like, "Is that the hard drive?" There, he's like, "No, that's beans. It's beans. It's food." I'll try and find it. It's very funny because it's just. I guess we'll have to put it in the. I'll find it and send it to you so that you can put it in the show notes.
Maybe that's the Hazelnut King. Maybe he's more of a trickster.
Yeah, filling my PC with. The video is called "Filling My PC with Beans and Hiring a Repairman to Fix It."
Some people have too much time on their hands.
Yeah, and too many beans.
Well, yeah. If you can do that with your beans, you've got too many.
December 2025.
So, on the 18th of December 2025, US President Donald Trump, here he comes, we've not talked about him yet this year, confirmed that he wants to send astronauts back to the moon as soon as possible putting eventual Mars missions on the back burner. This comes a few months after that soldier said that there was already soldiers on the moon, so this is all a bit suspicious to me. But he signed a new executive order outlining an expedited timetable for NASA's plans to send humans back to the moon as part of its ongoing Artemis program. So this is a Musk project, I think, or at least in part. I think that he's something to do with that. So this is kind of, I'd forgotten those days. You remember those days when Musk and Donald Trump were friends?
Yeah.
And then they kind of fell out.
Yeah.
And then, I'd forgotten all about that until I read this article. So in 2026, Artemis 2 will see its first astronauts venture around the moon and back again, while the first manned landing on the moon since the Apollo era could now happen as early as 2028. This would, according to the order, assert American leadership in space, lay the foundations for lunar economic development, prepare for the journey to Mars, and inspire the next generation of American explorers. But the plans go even further than that, demanding that NASA set up the initial elements of a permanent lunar outpost as soon as 2030. There are also plans to place nuclear reactors both in Earth's orbit and on the lunar surface. What could possibly go wrong? Trump himself is clearly hoping to see American astronauts walking on the moon, both during his tenure and before China manages to beat them to it, but delays are still likely given that the new lunar lander vehicle, which is being developed by Elon Musk's SpaceX, is not yet ready. We haven't really seen anything about it at all. It seems more likely that, while Artemis 2 will likely go ahead next year as planned, Artemis 3, which will be the actual landing, will be pushed back to 2030 and the outpost plans pushed back to beyond that.
That's assuming America still exists.
Well,
after
yeah.
2026.
We'll see. So, going back to an update for a story that we covered earlier in the year, according to the report on Black Vault on the 15th of December 2025, the Pentagon reopened its search for the alleged Yankee Blue memo. So this is that one that said that the whole thing was a bit of a conspiracy. So we've talked a bit about what that was, and the Wall Street Journal had reported on it. So the Black Vault, who were the people who'd done the original FOIA request, then have put in a formal appeal, which they filed in September, arguing that the search was inadequate and not legally sufficient under a FOIA. And the appeal emphasised that the Wall Street Journal presented the alleged memo as fact, not speculation, and attributed some related details to Department of Defense spokesperson Susan Goff. The FOIA requires agencies to discuss a search reasonably calculated to uncover all relevant documents. That limiting the search to CMD, which I think is something management database or something, failed to meet the standard because a secretary-level directive could reasonably reside in multiple offices, including policy directories or the OSD Executive Secretariat. Agencies must pursue logical leads that emerge during the inquiry, and any such memorandum from 2023 would fall under mandatory federal records retention, and its absence would raise records management concerns. So it looks like that they didn't really search for the article. That's what they're implying anyway. So the acting chief of the FOIA division issued a written decision after carefully considering your appeal, and as a result of discussions between FOID personnel and this office, I am remanding your request to FOID for a search for responsive records. So basically they're reopening it.
They sound do you know anything more about these Black Vault people?
No, I've looked at a few articles of theirs before, and I think I've used them in some of the weird reviews before. See, the good thing about the weird reviews, even though they're disorganized and often tedious, is that we get to talk about stuff that we wouldn't normally talk about in the podcast. And I go to all these weird websites, and the Black Vault does turn up quite a lot. I think I looked at them a lot during the Grush stuff and early last year with, was it Barber and the egg?
Yeah.
All that, yeah. Unresolved issues there. The Wall Street Journal reported a memo as fact, but has not addressed follow-up reporting by the Black Vault. So the Wall Street Journal's staying quiet about it now.
Right.
The appeal determination directly contradicts the FOIA conclusion that no responsive records existed. So that's something else that's a bit weird. And the DOW stated to the Black Vault in two separate channels through their FOIA office and Public Affairs office that it could not confirm the memo's existence, emphasizing the word alleged in their response from the latter. So the whole thing's just a bit of a mess of zero, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we'll find out, I guess, when that appeal surfaces.
I'll see you again in, I was going to say, weird review of the 2026.
Recorded in August of 2027.
Yeah.
So here we go for a final update on 3I Atlas. On December 19th, it reached its closest approach to Earth. And on 30th of December, phys.org, which is PHYS as in physics, not fizz like Coca-Cola, reported on new observations in a paper which was published on AirXIV preprint server, which details the findings from radio observations using the 100-meter Green Bank telescope in West Virginia. So on December the 18th, the researchers with the Breakthrough Listen program recorded the most sensitive radio observations to date just before the object reached its closest approach to Earth. So the authors wrote, there is currently no evidence to suggest that ISOs, which are interstellar objects, are anything other than natural astrophysical objects. However, given the small number of such objects known, only 3 to date, and the plausibility of interstellar probes as a technosignature thorough study is warranted.
Right.
So to begin with, the researchers picked up 471,000 candidate signals, but as these were filtered out, only 9 potential candidates remained. Sadly, a further analysis revealed that these are cases of radio frequency interference, not alien signals. So the results echo those of multiple other observations of 3I Atlas over the last few months, and certainly seems to put any idea that the object is an alien spacecraft to bed. So basically, none of the signals they picked up from when they were pointing the telescope at it were signals like alien signals being emitted, anything out of the ordinary from the comet. And they said, our survey concludes that there are no isotropic continuous wave transmitters above 0.1 watts at the location of 3I Atlas. So take that, Avi Loeb, son of a bitch.
He'll be back, I'm sure.
And finally, according to an article on Radar Online on the 24th of December, Steven Spielberg is facing a conspiracy theory that his top secret new UFO movie, Disclosure Day, features real aliens.
Yeah, I've heard about that one. I've heard it.
Yeah.
It's like, because it's always been the thing, hasn't it? With, like I was talking to you about it, like the Spielberg is soft disclosure.
Yeah.
Spielberg knows something or whatever, and it's like, this is just like taking it one step further. But like, I'll watch the film. I will watch the film. But like the trailer just looks like AI slop. It just looks like.
Oh, really? I saw a trailer that I quite liked.
All the animals look like.
I didn't see that. The one that I watched was more focused on the humans, and the weirdest thing was the weird noises that.
Yeah, there was the weird noises, and then but there was all these like, animals. There was like a bird, and there was like deer, and they all looked like AI.
Oh right, yeah. There was. I saw. There was a bit where there was an alien, not an alien, a deer in a kid's bedroom.
Yeah, and it just looked all like.
I don't know. I want to watch it. I
absolutely want to watch it, and I might really enjoy it. It might just be the way that the trailer's been sort of put together makes it look
as we talked
like
about it. Spielberg's really good at that sense of wonder.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he basically invented it as we know it in modern cinema.
The Spielberg, what is it they call it? The Spielberg look or whatever it is when they're sort of looking up at something amazing.
So Spielberg, he's now 79, is currently preparing for the release of, well, when this article was written, it wasn't, it hadn't been officially titled, but it's Disclosure Day now.
Disclosure Day, yeah.
And that's starring Emily Blunt, Colin Firth, Josh O'Connor, and Coleman Domingo. Anyway, billboards teasing the Disclosure Day movie have appeared in Los Angeles and New York, promising all will be disclosed. And the secrecy has reignited belief Spielberg enjoys privileged access to classified information. The theories draw on decades-old anecdotes about Spielberg's relationship with political and scientific figures. So there's this old story that shortly after E.T. the Extraterrestrial was released in 1982, then President Ronald Reagan hosted a private White House screening, and Spielberg later recalled Reagan stood up afterward and said, there are a number of people in this room who know that everything on that screen is absolutely true.
Everything.
Yeah. Spielberg added in 2011 that the whole room laughed because he presented it like it was a joke, but he wasn't smiling as he said it.
Nice.
And those kind of stories have helped obviously fuel speculation that Spielberg embedded hidden truths in Close Encounters of the Third
I
Kind.
really hope that he did, because I think that would be really cool.
Yeah. So this is all based really on suspicions of Montreal-based magician and YouTuber Chris Ramsey, who focuses on UFO theories. He posted a viral message outlining what he called a radical possibility being contained in Spielberg's new project. He wrote the director had been chosen to deliver the next phase of disclosure, adding not a leak in the traditional sense, but a carefully constructed big reveal. He went further to say that who basically asked his audience whether Spielberg had been granted unprecedented access to UFO footage or even an actual UFO. He said, imagine watching the opening credits to see these words, "This film features an actual UFO." And, it would instantly become the highest grossing film of all time. And Americans get to serve disclosure while we eat our peanut butter popcorn or whatever. He later suggested that the film could itself be a smokescreen. He said that it might be another way to control the narrative. So it sounds like he's really just throwing shit to see what sticks. He added, good luck searching for UFO disclosure after this movie hits the theaters. He's talking about Google searching, I think. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. The film's going to be released, I think it's mid-2026. I think it's June. Yeah. So we'll find out then. I mean, it's just going to be a movie. It's just going to be a
summer blockbuster.
Yeah. I mean, I think we should see it, like you say. I think we need to end it there. I think it's like I think we're done. That was 2026. No, it wasn't even that. It was 2025.
No, so it felt like
we're so confused. We're so confused now. I mean, it wasn't. I didn't feel quite as resigned as I did after we reviewed 2024.
I think we've come past that now. We're just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah. There's almost a kind of blissful resignation,
a sort of delirium.
Yeah, because it felt like that year, 2024, when we reviewed it, was so everything was Elon Musk and AI, and it feels like there's just so much of that now that it's just background noise.
Yeah.
And we actually got to talk about men who accused their women of being snakes and all that kind of thing.
The fun stuff.
The actual weird stuff. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this by some miracle, you can find us on Instagram at Vayse, and then Vayse spelled backwards. So that's at VAYSEESYAV. And we're also on Blue Sky. Our website is www.vayse.co.uk, and all our episodes are on there. But we're also available on all major podcasting platforms. But it's only on the website that you'll get the full show notes. You can email us to tell us how much you've loved this weird review at baseinfo@gmail.com. And on Bandcamp, we've got 2 volumes of the soundtrack, plus Songs in the Key of Vayse, which is a compilation put together from tracks that our listeners gave us. And if you give us a regular donation on Ko-Fi, you can become part of our Discord server, which is just a really good place full of good people doing fun stuff. And if you enjoy the podcast, tell your friends, subscribe to us on all of the platforms, make someone else listen to it.
Shout it from the rooftops.
Pour our voices into their ears, make them understand, show them what it's like. But don't hurt them. Just kind of do it in a nice way, a soft way, a friendly way.
Something to bear in mind about the Discord and the Ko-Fi. So if you subscribe to us and join the Discord or just follow us on the Ko-Fi, you do get occasionally sort of bonus material from the episodes, stuff that's sort of unreleased. So, whether it'll be us talking to a guest after the mic is off. Well, no, because the mic, then it wouldn't record anything, would it? But, us talking to a guest after the official recording finishes for half an hour or things like that. So we've got a bunch of like exclusive stuff that's available to our subscribers and our Discord members. So that's a good incentive. There's hours of it that we've stockpiled over the years.
Yeah,
it's all there.
Once or twice we've done an episode where we talk about the episode that's just gone. So we did one after we interviewed Aidan Wachter, and we did one after we interviewed Sirica, where we actually got a friend, Kelly, who's on the Discord, to come on and have a little chat with us about what the costumes mean in Lost Boys, which is really cool. And sometimes we just chat shit for half an hour.
Often, really.
Yeah.
We just chat shit. But yeah, so that's just an added incentive.
And before we wrap up, I'd just like to thank the people behind unexplainedmysteries.com, which is the brilliant website that I got all of these stories from. It's a fantastic website that aggregates weird news stories. So every day they're filling it up with all these weird, wonderful stories. And every year I completely cannibalize that site, run through pages and pages of it to put together these the stories from the year that's gone by. So they're doing an amazing job, and I'll link to them in the show notes.
So what are you, Peter C. Hine, hoping for in 2026?
I hope for some better news, I think.
Yeah.
I hope lots of weird things happen that are good, and that we get to talk about something more fun next year. I kind of want to know what's going to happen with Trump. I read today that he's breaking new ground for how unpopular he is at the 1 year mark. He's broken the record that he set himself in his last term as president.
Yeah, but it's like...
We're getting in this country horrendous news of Reform UK, or whatever they're called, becoming more... They're hoovering up all the Conservative Party, aren't they? And
it's not looking
Starmer's
good.
blocked Burnham from becoming a member of Parliament. So there's a lot of shit going on at the moment, and I kind of hope that passes, and that we get some better news.
I mean, we do have some good news to bring, because we've got some really cool guests lined up.
Yes.
There's a guest that we have on the cards for next month, who is, I think you'll all be particularly excited to hear.
Yes, I'm really looking forward to releasing that. We've got a few guests, some that I really want to
lined
speak
up,
to
and a few
for ages,
plans for a big ranty episode with just the two of us. That we've been kind of researching pretty heavily, really. I think, as we didn't sort of say we were going to do it or plan it, it just so happened that our reading both converged what we're reading into, and we had some pretty kind of in-depth discussions, and we're going to do an episode about it, and it's just going to be fucking relentless. It's going to be heavy. I think we're going to need to set aside quite a lot of time with that. And then we've got another little project on the back burner as well that's not quite a podcast, but something a bit more like it is a podcast, I guess. It will take an audio form, but it's more like a little sort of fiction / documentary / thing that we're working on with someone who we admire a lot. So that's another thing that we're
have been working behind the scenes on that.
There's a lot going on, as always.
Yes, we've got plenty to be excited about for 2026. But I think that the main thing is that everyone listening, have fun and be nice to people, and make sure that everyone you know has fun and is nice to other people.
Amen to that.
Testify.
Right. I'll switch off the recording.
Vayse.